Hello everybody, welcome back to Chris Bosch Props. Here we have another Robocop video. I've been getting quite a bit of questions on how I paint my Robocop suit or what type of paints do I use for my Robocop suit. So I thought I would do a video just dedicated to that and showing you guys the exact paints that I use to have a movie-like Robocop suit. So let's get into it and let me show you. Alright guys, so what paints do I use to paint my Robocop suit? Well, I'm going to show you. There's no mystery to it. There's no secret to it. It is stuff that you can get over the counter, and I'll explain some of my technique and what I do and how I do it, the order that I do it. As you guys know, with a 3D printed part, they come out with quite a bit of print lines. So you have to do all the grunt work, do the body work, smooth it out, get it looking really nice. So we're gonna skip that part. You kind of already know what you need to do to clean up a 3D printed part, most of you at least. That's a whole nother video. So we'll just pretend that you're at the point where you're ready to paint this, okay? So of course, for my filler primer and even for my base primer, I love Duplicolor filler primer. Now, when I am filling and cleaning up my parts, I will switch over to Bondo filler primer, and that's just to fill in print lines. But I do not use that as my base coat primer. I use the Duplicolor filler primer. It takes a little bit longer to cure, but it comes out glass smooth, and I just really like it. It's a very good primer. So that's my primer. You can use any primer. And with that said, just remember guys, this is not the end-all technique. This is just the way I do it. This is the paint job that you guys have seen throughout my various Robocop Comic-Con videos. So if you want a paint job like that, this is how I do it, but feel free to try other paints and get it more resembling the movie to your liking. This is what I like, and I think it pretty closely resembles the movie, in all honesty. Next would be my metallic silver base. So this would be the first paint coat that I put on, and what I used on my last suit for my base paint, my first layer, is metallic aluminum Krylon Fusion paint. This is readily available at Walmart, Lowe's, I think even Home Depot has it. You can kind of get it anywhere, and that is one of the reasons why I like using readily available paints, because I could just get them anytime. If I run out, I go and grab it. If I were to use some automotive paint, it's a little harder to get sometimes. So yeah, that's why I use more readily available paints. So this is my first base coat paint, is metallic aluminum Krylon Fusion. Now after that's laid, one little trick I like to do is lightly mist some Krylon Fusion metallic silver. And you're probably asking, well, why do you mist that on? I mist this on because I like the darker tone of this Krylon metallic aluminum, but it doesn't have very much metallic flake. The metallic flake in it is very fine, and you can't really see it. The metallic silver has a similar dark tone. It's not exact, but the metallic flake is a lot heavier, but it's too heavy to be used alone. So I do just literally just a light mist over the metallic aluminum. It doesn't throw the color off, but it gives the metallic flake that I like, as you can see there. See if my camera kind of focuses in on that. If you can see that metallic flake in there. So you should be able to see some of that reflective metallic flake in it, and that's what I go for. The metallic aluminum by itself does not have that. So that's my next light mist layer, is metallic silver Krylon Fusion. Okay, so after that we have our base metallic coat, but now we need to build up the layers that are seen in the original movie, which are the blue and the purples. Now what I use for that is Testors metallic paints, and I use an airbrush to airbrush in these highlights that are present here. You can see the purple, You can see the purple hues here, and I'll just go in and I will airbrush these areas throughout the suit. You can see I did a light purple across the top of the chest, some blue and some purple hues up there. But anyway, let me give you the order that I do on that. Okay, so the original Robocop suit, guys, I've explained it before, is not what you think it is. It is much more metallic green looking. And the reason I've heard that it looks more green is because the material that they casted the Robocop suit in was flexible urethane. And the original paints that they used, or the clear coat that they used, I believe the paint reacted with the flexible urethane and it kind of turned green. So it wasn't that they used a green metallic, it was the way that the paint reacted with the flexible urethane. It just didn't like it, so it kind of turned it green. So that is an effect that I went for. I didn't want it to be as overbearing as the original Robocop suit because the original Robocop suit was very green. But I started after my first metallic base coats with the Krylon metallic aluminum and the metallic silver light mists of flake. I first start with a lime green metallic from Testors. Unfortunately, guys, this is discontinued. They discontinued it just a couple months ago, but I'm sure there's something similar you can use. If you want to go, this is optional. You do not have to go this route. This is something I wanted to do for more movie accuracy. So I do a very light airbrush of that metallic green, kind of all throughout the suit. Very light, not heavy at all, just to kind of give it that green tinge that was seen on the movie suit. Next would be my Testors metallic blue. Now this is your main paint for highlights. There's a lot of metallic blue in the original suit. So I just highlight some of the edges under the chest, up here, around the edges here, even on these little side things, just kind of random areas throughout the chest. Now there's a lot of light here, so it's kind of hard to see, but as you kind of move the chest into different lightings, those blue highlights really come out. And that's one thing I love about layering it, is in different lighting, the paint scheme kind of changes. As you can see, more light, less light, and that's the same effect that it had in the original movie. Now I'm using a digital Canon M50 camera, but in the movie they used film, and the way film picked it up is much, much different than what a digital camera picks up. So anyway, I'll highlight all my blue highlights throughout. You can even see on my Robocop helmet here, all the blue highlights around the band, the edges of the helmet, the ear pieces. Here's a back piece, and you can see the different highlights of purple. Now every scene's different. In the original movie they had to do a lot of repaints, guys. I was able to speak with one of the original painters of the suit, and he said these suits went through a lot of scuffing and scratching and damage from being worn throughout filming. And one thing he said that kind of was unfortunate, that is if a bad scratch got on any portion of the armor, that they had to do a full repaint because there were so many different layers to the Robocop suit. So they couldn't just touch up one little scratch. They had to do a full repaint of the whole thing because of the layering. So yeah, guys, keep that in mind. Don't worry about scratches. They happen. It's no big deal when you're wearing it, to be honest with you. But yeah, as you can see, all those layers there. So Testors Metallic Blue is my second airbrush coat. Now my last airbrush coat is purple. This is a metallic purple by Testors. You can see the color there. And same thing, guys. I just go through various areas, add in the purple underneath. I'll look at screenshots and kind of see in different scenes how his purple and blue reflects. And I go in and try to kind of mimic or replicate that. every scene's different because the suit went through so many different repaints that it's never really the same. The airbrush and the highlights are different in certain scenes because the suit's been repainted. So I just try to get what was most prominent throughout the movie. So let's review, guys. Base primer is Duplicolor Filler Primer. First coat is Metallic Aluminum Krylon Fusion. Second is a light mist of Metallic Silver by Krylon Fusion. Then we start airbrushing our coats. Lime Green Testors Metallic. Metallic Blue Testors. Metallic Purple Testors. So after all of our base coats and layers of paint, we have to clear coat this thing. Now, there are various types of clear coats. In the original movie, they used automotive paints. So they didn't use over-the-counter spray paints like this. They used actual automotive paints. There was a guy in the comments section recently that said they used Ford metallic paints from the 80s. I can't verify that. I don't know that, but I do know and I can confirm that they did use automotive paints. I didn't use automotive paints. I was able to get a very similar look with over-the-counter paints that are readily available for anybody, and that's why I went that route, to show you guys that you can do this with over-the-counter stuff you can buy right now. So for the clear coat, we are using Duplicolor 1K Clear. Now I said I'm not using automotive clear coats. This is an automotive clear coat in the sense that it can be used for touch-ups. It's not something you want to use on your whole entire car, but for touch-ups, it's probably fine. I probably wouldn't use it to touch up on a car. I would go with a 2K for that because a 2K is kind of like an epoxy clear coat. It's a two-part hardened shell, whereas this always stays kind of soft and gummy. I'm sure this is really not resistance towards solvents. So yeah, keep that in mind. But anyway, I like it. It's a little cheaper than 2K clear coats, and like I said, it is readily available at AutoZone and you can get it anytime. So that's why I went that route, and it gives a very nice mirror type finish. The clear coat on the original Robocop suit was a lot more subtle than this. It was not as reflective. Some scenes it was, some scenes it wasn't, and you could just tell that was from them buffing it in certain areas, and then sometimes they didn't buff it. But yeah, that's what I use. I like it. I think it's amazing. It's strong. It's a durable finish. Not quite good as a 2K, but definitely good. And as you can see, guys, it's phenomenal. For over-the-counter paints, it comes out close enough to me to the movie suit, and it really does the job. So I hope this video helped you guys. These are the paints that I use. This is the airbrush that I use. It's just a cheap airbrush off Amazon. Nothing fancy. Maybe one day we'll do a video and I can show you guys my airbrush setup. I just use my airbrush off my 8-gallon compressor right here with no problem. The setup's a little different, but it's really no big deal. And don't be afraid of airbrushing, guys. It's not that hard, and I'm no expert at it, as you can see, but don't worry, the original Robocop suits were not perfect at all. So don't be afraid to take on the challenge of airbrushing. It's not that difficult, guys. So that's what I use, no secret to it, and I hope it helps some of you guys that are going to be building Robocop suits here in the future. Feel free to do whatever you feel like is necessary for your suit to get it looking like the movie. This is what I use, guys. So thank you, and I really appreciate everyone's support, and I hope that helped you out. Have a good one, and we're on to the next one.